In the world of aviation, mysteries are exceptionally rare. Every flight is meticulously planned, every system checked and double-checked, and every crew member trained to handle the unexpected. Yet, when a mystery does occur, it shakes the very foundation of our trust in the skies. These rare events are not just unsettling, they haunt the memories of those left behind and challenge the experts who dedicate their lives to making air travel safe. The crash of Air India Flight 171 stands as a chilling example. It is a tragedy defined not only by the loss of life, but by a single haunting question exchanged between two pilots in their final moments. This brief, cryptic exchange has become the focal point of the entire investigation, echoing through the years as a symbol of the unknown. The cockpit voice recorder, often called the black box, captured this question in the last desperate seconds before disaster struck. Investigators, listening intently to the recording, found themselves confronted with a puzzle that defied easy answers. The recording transformed a devastating accident into one of the most perplexing and enduring mysteries in modern aviation history. Despite the use of advanced technology, rigorous investigative procedures, and the combined expertise of international teams, the investigation has revealed something deeper, a mystery rooted not just in mechanical failure, but in the very human experience of those final moments. The search for answers has exposed the limits of what technology can reveal and highlighted the emotional toll on everyone involved. The world continues to mourn the 279 lives lost in the tragedy. Families gather at memorials, searching for closure, while investigators revisit every detail, hoping to unlock the truth. Yet the true cause of the crash remains locked away, hidden in the frantic, chaotic seconds aboard the stricken Boeing 787, a moment frozen in time, still waiting for answers. This story is not just about technical failure or mechanical error. It is a story about the human drama that unfolds in the cockpit, about the courage and vulnerability of those at the controls, and about the enduring questions that sometimes, even in our most advanced age, remain unanswered. On the evening of June 12, 2024, the bustling terminals of Ahmedabad Airport were alive with anticipation. Air India Flight 171, a scheduled service to London, was preparing for departure. Passengers, some seasoned travelers, and others embarking on their first international journey, made their way through security and onto the aircraft. The mood was a mix of excitement and routine as families said their goodbyes and business travelers checked their emails one last time before boarding. The aircraft for tonight's journey was a state-of-the-art Boeing 787 Dreamliner, gleaming under the airport lights. Known for its advanced technology and reliability, the Dreamliner was a symbol of modern aviation, promising a smooth and comfortable flight across continents. On board were 241 passengers from all walks of life, 19 dedicated crew members, and 2 highly experienced pilots, Captain Sumit Sabharwal and First Officer Clive Kunda. The crew completed their final checks, greeting passengers with reassuring smiles as everyone settled in for the overnight flight. The engines roared to life and the Dreamliner lifted gracefully into the night sky. The weather was perfect, clear skies and calm winds, offering no hint of the disaster that was about to unfold. For a brief moment, everything seemed perfectly ordinary. But less than a minute after liftoff, at just 2,100 feet above the city, disaster struck. Both engines suddenly lost power, plunging the aircraft into a terrifying silence. Warning lights flashed in the cockpit as the pilots fought to regain control, but the situation was dire and time was running out. With no thrust and little altitude to spare, the powerless jet descended rapidly, crashing into a densely populated residential neighborhood. The impact was catastrophic, igniting a massive fireball that lit up the night and sent plumes of smoke billowing into the sky. The tragedy claimed the lives of all 260 people on board, as well as 19 residents on the ground. Miraculously, amid the devastation, one survivor was pulled from the wreckage, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. In less than 60 seconds, a routine flight was transformed into a national tragedy, leaving a community in mourning and investigators searching for answers to prevent such a disaster from ever happening again. The black boxes, silent witnesses to disaster, revealed a swift and shocking sequence of events that would forever change the understanding of this flight. These devices, designed to capture every sound and movement in the cockpit, provided investigators with a second-by-second account of what happened in those final moments. At the controls was First Officer Kunda, responsible for flying the aircraft, while Captain Sabharwal, the more experienced of the two, was monitoring the instruments and overseeing the flight's progress. Together, they formed a team trained to handle emergencies, but nothing could have prepared them for what was about to unfold. Just 42 seconds after takeoff, a critical error occurred. The right engine's fuel control switch was moved to cutoff, abruptly shutting down the engine. Incredibly, only a second later, the left engine's fuel control switch was also set to cutoff. In the blink of an eye, both engines were rendered powerless. With both engines now silent, the massive Dreamliner was transformed from a state-of-the-art jet into a powerless glider, its fate hanging in the balance. The cockpit, once filled with the hum of engines, was now eerily quiet except for the warning alarms. Instantly, the pilots sprang into action. Warning lights flashed across the instrument panel, alarms blared, and the ram air turbine automatically deployed to provide emergency power. The crew frantically worked through emergency procedures, desperately trying to restart the engines as the aircraft lost altitude. Their efforts were not in vain. The right engine began to relight, flickering back to life. But the aircraft was already dangerously low and losing speed rapidly. There simply wasn't enough time or altitude left to recover from the dual engine failure. Just 16 seconds after the fuel was cut off, the plane stalled. With no power and insufficient lift, it entered a rapid, uncontrolled descent, plummeting toward the ground below. The entire disaster, from the moment the fuel was cut to the final impact, unfolded in less than a minute. In that brief window, every decision, every action, and every second counted. The cockpit voice and data recorders captured it all. The confusion, the urgency, and the desperate struggle for control as the crew fought to save their aircraft and the lives on board. Investigators quickly focused on the Boeing 787's engine fuel control switches, small, guarded levers designed to prevent accidental activation. These switches require the metal guard to be lifted and deliberate force to move from run to cutoff. Tests ruled out mechanical or electrical failure. The switches could not have moved on their own. The evidence pointed to a deliberate, manual action in the cockpit. Someone lifted the guards and pulled both switches, cutting fuel to both engines. This shifted the investigation from technical malfunction to human action and intent. The question became, why would either pilot do this? In the minutes before disaster, passengers sent routine messages. No sign of alarm or conflict. As the engines failed, at least one panicked message described a sudden loss of power and chaos. These texts confirm the emergency was sudden and unexpected, with no warning for those on board. The contrast between calm before takeoff and terror during descent highlights how quickly disaster struck. These messages offer a human window into the tragedy, underscoring the abruptness and confusion of the event. Behind every technical detail were hundreds of lives, each story cut short in seconds. At the heart of the mystery is a chilling cockpit exchange captured by the voice recorder. Captain Sabharwal, in disbelief, asked First Officer Kunda, "Why did you cut off the fuel?" Kunda immediately replied, "I did not do so." This brief exchange rules out a shared mistake and points to either a unilateral action or profound confusion. Investigators are left with a terrible conundrum. Was it a deliberate act, a catastrophic error, or something else entirely? The full context remains unreleased, but these words have shaped the entire investigation. The world is left to grapple with two disturbing possibilities: intentional sabotage or an unprecedented error. With mechanical failure ruled out, the focus turned to the human element. Two main theories emerged: deliberate sabotage or catastrophic error. The first, pilot suicide, has tragic precedents, but the cockpit exchange complicates this theory. The second, an almost impossible error, suggests one pilot, in confusion, pulled the wrong switches. The robust design of the controls makes accidental activation unlikely, but investigators are exploring every possibility, including incapacitation or misinterpreted alerts. Other causes, fuel contamination, bird strikes, electrical faults, have been ruled out. The truth likely lies in a complex interplay of human factors. The investigation continues to probe the pilot's actions, intentions, and state of mind. The investigation is ongoing, with no final conclusions about why the switches were pulled. Every aspect of the pilot's backgrounds, training, and health is under scrutiny. Simulators are being used to reconstruct the flight and test human factors scenarios. Investigators urge patience, warning against premature blame or speculation. The goal is not to assign blame, but to find the root cause and prevent recurrence. Until the final report, the tragedy of Flight 171 remains an open, haunting question. The crash of Air India 171 is a stark reminder that technology cannot eliminate the human factor. The mystery in the cockpit forces the industry to confront the limits of training, communication, and cockpit design. Lessons from this tragedy will shape future protocols, training, and support for flight crews. Independent, thorough investigation is essential to air safety. The 279 lives lost will not be in vain if their story leads to change. The enduring lesson, trust in aviation, depends on understanding and supporting the human element. The quest for answers continues, with vigilance and humility as our guides.